I fucking love Lupin the Third. How could you not? It's classic Japanese animation before it became total shit. It's got so much suave quirk and sexy charm that it could choke Sean Connery to death. And out of fucking nowhere, they announced there was going to be a whole new series. That's right, not a TV movie, not a mini series, none of that shit. A full, for real new series. No longer can we call it the green, red, and pink trio anymore, fellas. It's Blue Jacket time. I mean, just look at how awesome it is. Let's take a look at the intro. This is the Italian intro, actually. Yeah, oddly enough, it was dubbed and released in Italy a few months before Japan. Strange, but whatever. It's set primarily in Italy, and apparently Italians fucking can't get enough of Lupin. It's like super big over there. So, fair enough. I mean, this intro isn't so bad. It's catchy, right? Sort of? Eh? Okay, enough of this drivel. What did the glorious kingdom of Nihon cook up for us? Damn! Now this is what I'm talking about. This is Lupin the Third, the way Lupin the Third was meant to be. I can't tell you how fucking excited I am to finally be getting a new series installment. Over the years, Lupin has had tons of fucking movies, a Fujiko miniseries, and countless public tributes and events, all of course in Japan, but it hasn't been since 1984 with the Pink Jacket series that we had an honest, actual TV series. And age hasn't changed the Lupin a bit. It fits itself perfectly into the current generation as a reminder to today's tepid, shit-festering modern anime of how a fucking master does it. It's been too damn long, my old friend. I haven't gotten around to finding any high-quality uploads of the Blue Jacket episodes yet, but with the first season starting to wrap up over in Japan, I'm sure they're uploaded somewhere on the internet. Give it a year and we'll have an official dub, too. But dub or no dub, silly Italian intro or no silly Italian intro, it's fucking Lupin time. Oh yeah, that's nice. And hell, how better to commemorate the new Blue Jacket series than with a shitty YouTube countdown list? Today, we'll be taking a look at my personal favorite of the original three series, that is, the Red Jacket, and evaluating some of its best episodes as well as some of its not best episodes. The Red Jacket had the distinction of both being by far the longest of the original three series, with a whopping 155 episodes compared to Pink Jacket's 50 and Green Jacket's measly 23. Naturally, it was also the longest running in terms of years on the air, and while I favored it myself among the three, it had a lot of room for error as well. It went through the hands of several different animation companies, even getting a couple of episodes directed and produced by Studio Ghibli. While stuff like Ghibli episodes are naturally considered treasures in their own right, not every episode got the same treatment. Even the dubbed episodes, of which there ended up only being less than 80 out of the 155 of, poked fun at how rushed some of the episodes got, both in their writing and their animation. The Red Jacket series was the peak of Lupin's original popularity. It made a name for itself with the original manga comic, and then carved itself out a place in the mainstream with the Green Jacket anime, but the Red Jacket was the world's answer to their call for more sweet, sweet Lupin. Because of these factors, I think it's definitely the most interesting of the three. It just has variety, both good and bad, that the Green and Pink Jacket series just didn't get, due to their shorter length and overall more stable productions. So, let's not dick around the bush any longer. Let's look at the top 5 best and top 5 worst Lupin Red Jacket episodes. Two quick things before we begin. First, I'm only going to cover the dubbed episodes because, well, English is number one, and fuck, I am too lazy to go through every episode. There's 155 of them! Give me a break! Plus, let's just be honest, Red Jacket dub is not only the best dub now and forever, but the voices were just better than their original Japanese counterparts. Yep, I said it. I said it. Second, I totally made this list literally years ago, back in like 2011 or something, and I was just too retarded to ever make an actual video for it until now. Back then, doing a top 5 best and worst was original. Now, it's something everyone does. Oops, fuck me. Let's begin.
Number 5.
Under the Americanized named Ice Robot, obviously a play on iRobot, this was one of the very last episodes to receive English dub, but it's nonetheless a hell of an episode to end on. It's wholly comedy-centered, comedy being a facet the Red Jacket series focused on more compared to the oftentimes more somber and serious Green Jacket series, and the overly comedy-centered Pink Jacket series. The episode follows the misadventure of Lupin and his gang as they attempt to get a robot, constructed by a wacky scientist that has the ability to turn water into diamonds, back from a street gang that stole it. The episode features heavily Western-styled slapstick and gag compared to the rest of the series' more Japanese-styled humorings.
Taxi! Taxi! Police, you gotta chase that car! Sure. You know, for a large man, he sure is a fast runner.
It's got a funny premise, great humor, a funny ending, and it's a damn fine example of Lupin's comedic side.
I want you to take me! Hey, am I getting through to you?
Number 4.
Another episode that focuses a bit more on comedy, it doesn't skimp on some of the action as well. Lupin and G get into a race that apparently has traditionally been held for thieves. There's race car related hijinks, Zenigata eats a plant, wants to get some crabs,
Just get Lupin! Then we'll have crabs!
and there's even some very good-natured public messages about littering.
Hey, set an example, will you? There's kids watching.
What are you saying? I put it in the trash.
The only bad thing about the episode, well, not so much bad as just unnecessary and odd, is that there's an ultimately meaningless subplot where Emperor Phantoma, a villain from a previous episode, has apparently survived his fate and returned to attempt to sabotage Lupin's victory and axe him off. We break away from the main episode a few times to see Phantoma monologue about how revenge is sweet and all that, which is really just distracting more than anything else. Also, what? It also doesn't seem to make sense because Phantoma claims he devised the entire race as a trap for Lupin, but we're told in the beginning of the episode that it's been a centuries-old tradition. Maybe he just rigged this year's race? I don't know. Anyways, it all comes to a conclusion when Goemon and Fujiko roll out and put a stop to his plans. For what it was worth, it could have just not been in the episode at all. Oh well, a minor problem to an otherwise excellent episode.
Number 3.
Despite the painful pun of the English title, Zenigata Get You Into My Life is an episode that focuses on who else but the best character, Zenigata. The episode follows Zenigata running into a mute woman named Laura who's being chased by a bunch of generic mobster-like villains. Zenigata, on his mission to protect the mute bitch, inadvertently falls in love with her. The romance is a bit rushed and tacked on, and it probably would have benefited a bit from being a two-parter or something, but it's solid enough that it stands on its own. Not to give everything about the episode away, but Laura unfortunately ends up getting the goose. Tragedy struck, Zenigata goes to Lupin for help in avenging her. It ends on a pretty bittersweet tragic note that really completes the episode.
I love to hear you say my name. Say it again.
Oh, Laura?
If you don't mind the romance being a bit rushed, it's a damn fine story.
Who's going out there?
Number
2.
Bet you did not see that shitty pun coming. This episode is great. It follows Lupin and company's attempt at jogging the memory of an ex-Nazi to get him to recall where the secret treasure of Adolf Hitler was buried. Lupin III, of course, was produced way back during a time when the whole Berlin Wall was still a thing, so we get a lot of story elements centering around the East and West Bloc divides. The ex-Nazi, a man named Ginhart, has all but forgotten everything about his past life and the decrepity of his age. Not one to be foiled by this, Lupin devises a scheme to reenact the moment Ginhart learned of the treasure's burial by staging a fake movie filming, complete with an entire set and crew, to replicate one of Hitler's inner chambers. The plan amazingly works out, despite Zenigata's attempt at capturing Lupin, and the gang learns of the secret location. Of course, however, it turns out that the lost treasure was nothing more than Adolf's old paintings. Realistically, they'd be priceless treasures in their own right, of course, but what's realism in the face of a funny ending? It's got a compelling story, some great gags, and motherfucking Adolf Hitler winks at you. Enough said. Another funny thing to note is that in an earlier episode, Hell to Pay, Lupin and Fujiko end up cornered in an old castle by an army of Nazi parodies after the two unintentionally knock the toupee off of a midget-fied Hitler. So this means that not only does the Lupin III universe contain the actual events of World War II and Hitler's Third Reich, but it also has a little parody version of it. That is fucking awesome. Before we go over the last best episode, let's pad out the video with some honorable mentions. Choosing just 5 episodes, even out of the first 79 without counting the entire fucking 155 episode library, is goddamned hard. Naturally, there were lots of episodes I wanted to put here, but I stuck with my personal favorites. Here, we'll go over some of the ones that nearly managed to make the cut, but, well, didn't manage to make the cut. Instant note goes out to the 2 Miyazaki episodes, Fujiko's Close Call Operation and Wings of Death Albatross, episodes 144 and 145 respectively. While they are naturally beautifully animated episodes, the stories themselves are fairly standard. They're great, a lot of people consider them the best, and they are for sure worth a watch. Only Wings of Death Albatross got an English dub, however, and even then only some years after the original Red Jacket dub. It was done with a different voice cast, and due to the infamous copyright issues with the name Lupin, Lupin goes under his occasional name of Wolf. It's on Hulu, and I think you can watch it without a Hulu subscription or whatever, so if you can find it, give it a watch. It's more than worth it. A classic enemies team-up episode, Zenigata and Lupin find themselves captured by a militia army of Moroccan rebel insurgents. Forced to either fight or hang, the duo manage to escape and have to make it back to safety through some pretty funny antics, occasionally butting heads when differences in morals come up.
No way! I'm not some common criminal!
They're also handcuffed together. If you can look past the fact that handcuffs have never stopped Lupin any other time before, it's a pretty great ride with some pretty great jokes.
You wouldn't be willing to part with her now, would you, my friend? Here, look, I'll give you my donkey and a quart of pickled goat testicles, huh?
Well, that's,
They are of the very highest quality. Yeah, well, so are mine!
A flower of suicide blooms in India, or known by the English name Holy Cow. The episode follows Lupin and Jigen as they attempt to get good on an Indian scientist gone mafia's diamond ring. It's a fun thieves versus thieves episode with a typical wacky and over-the-top villain who has a laser gun that, once you've been shot with, your body forces itself to commit suicide. It's a bit like The Happening, only it's not shit. A great episode with the gags, jokes, and beautifully corny nature that is so encompassing to Lupin III. A fun little episode with a clever, if not very plausible in reality, mystery involving an eccentric mob boss and his chicken-based jewel laundering racket. Another heavily comedy-centered episode. It's a great one to watch if you're new to the series and want a great episode to start on.
Took for you, though, didn't it?
And now, the best episode of Lupin III ever!
Who's going out there?
Number 1.
Ugh, the name puns. This episode is actually very similar to Zinni Gotta Get You Into My Life in the sense that it has a horrible pun for a title and it involves one of the characters falling in love only to ultimately lose. This time around, it's Jigen. It's another Iron Curtain episode, this time involving Soviet Russia instead of separated Germany. After a plan to steal a diamond from the tiara of Russia's most famous ballet artist goes awry, Jigen ends up stuck in good old Mother Russia with Lupin on the other side of the fence. Stranded and more or less fucked, Jigen finds himself saved by the very woman he and Lupin stole from in the beginning of the episode. The woman, named Monica, explains to Jigen that she's tired of living under the weight of the Iron Curtain and wishes to flee to America, where she can be more open to pursue her dancing. What ensues next is an adventure to escape the Soviet Union and make it out with a diamond. It's got a very great James Bond feeling to it, and the whole thing plays out like a spy story more than a thief one.
Is it me or is this train scene right out of From Russia with Love?
Oh fuck, even they noticed! They do manage to get out of the Union, but of course the story wouldn't be complete without a last-minute betrayal, a lesson that every rose has its thorn, and one hell of a cool ending shot.
Mr. and Mrs. Ivanov. Here's a divorce.
And there's my crack at Baby's first YouTube video. Was it very good? Fuck no. Did you like it? I hope you didn't, you tasteless retard. I have a long ways to go when it comes to mastering the ancient art of basic sound editing and proper audio recording, but hey, give me time. I'll get there. Not like anyone is fucking watching this video anyways, right? By the time your ass is sitting down and watching this, I'll be reaching 1 million subs and have a legion of brain-dead fan cunts. Either that or I'll be dead. One of the two. So, if you like this shitty video, like and subscribe, but like the YouTube cog you are. While you're at it, why not visit my Patreon and give me some money, you stupid fucking slut? It's not like you're gonna fucking need it. Give it to me! And yes, I know I said that this was going to be a top 5 best and top 5 worst, and I ended it before I ever did the top 5 worst, but I was an ignorant fucking shithead when I said that 15 minutes ago. By the time I got the fucking best ones done, yeah, a fucking quarter of an hour has passed. You sat here for 15 minutes and watched me talk about stupid shit. You know, do you want to sit through any more of that? I thought not, so let's just do the smart thing and save the other half of the video for another day, okay? So, with that said and that done, come back next week when I'll have another crappy video prepared for you, you fucking easily entertained buffoon.